Here, it's the man who preaches nothing, Mr. Bryan Cohen.
Surprise, surprise, so you rub your eyes, never lose.
It is a pleasure to be here. My name, like you said, the man preaching nothing, Bryan Cohen. And you know, people have called me for a variety of years, decades, and even centuries, the man preaching nothing, because I have no real views of my own, no real opinions. I just kind of go through life. But at times, as I preach nothing, voices come into my head, and I never really know what to expect or what I'm going to hear. For example, I was here in Louisville the other day, walking through the Highlands, Bardstown Road, the historic area, and I saw a guy with these really wacky sweaters, green, blue, purple, magenta, and I really hate people that really like to wear wild colors. I hate that. It's annoying. It's obnoxious. And I couldn't deal with it, and I said to him, I bet I could take that guy out. I bet I could beat him up. And suddenly a voice came into my head, and I became Stone Cold Steve Austin, the toughest sumbitch in the WWF. Crack back a Steve Weiser, whip his ass, and I started to whip his ass all the way down Bardstown Road, Taylorsville Road, Hurstbourne Parkway, Shelbyville Road, the South End, North End, Indiana, all the way up to Chicago. And once I whipped his ass, I said, I kind of like his sweater. I think I'll put on his sweater. I think I'll put it on, and suddenly a new voice came into my head, and I became one of the greatest who ever lived, the Bill Cosby, eating the Jell-O sandwich and pudding, and my wife Camille calls me on the phone, you see. And I say, what are we going to have for dinner, Camille? And Camille says, she says, you're going to have to get dinner on your own, Bill. And I said, whoa, that's not good. So I start to go on a little journey through Tennessee and Arkansas and Texas. And when I was in Texas, a new voice came over me. A new voice came over me. The former governor of Texas and the 43rd United States President, George W. Bush. And I said, I like to blow things up. I like to take down some Iraqi tourists. And a new voice was taking me over, but I still was on the lookout for some dinner. I really wanted to have some dinner. I was so hungry, and I couldn't find it anywhere in Texas or Louisiana or all throughout the South. And all I could find was some nuclear weapons, but no food. So I found myself beamed up into outside space somewhere in a whole other universe, and a new voice came over me. And it was the 1980s superstar television sitcom Alf. And suddenly I knew exactly what I wanted to eat. I wanted to have some cats. I love cats. They taste absolutely incredible, but I couldn't find them anywhere. I absolutely could not find any cats throughout the whole nebula outer space system. And suddenly, a new voice came over me. And I saw a restaurant. It was like a hippie place like you'd see on Bardstown Road, but it was in outer space. And the waiter was Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. He was like, Scoob, that's a spooky old house, man. That's a spooky alien. And a new voice was taking over me. But then, as I was continuing my search for food and I couldn't find it, I finally found that I felt some sort of narration or kind of some sort of dialogue about this whole event, like there was commentary over it. And I finally realized who it was. It was Howard Cosell, one of the all-time greatest sports commentators of all time. The man who called Ali, the man who called Frazier, the man who called all the greatest sporting events of all time. And he said, well, Bryan Cohen, be able to get any sort of food, and suddenly Howard Cosell realized that I had obtained some food, I was nourished, all the voices were out of my head, and I was surely happy to go on and fight another day.
Here we go for Brother Love. And a joke only he got. All right, we're going to keep this